This is the true story of Jastine Valdez, a hard-working and dedicated young woman, someone that was building a new life with the help of her parents. She had the bravery to move across the planet and worked harder than most to achieve her dreams. But after stepping off the bus one night, she all but vanished. What would become of Jastine? Viewer discretion is advised for this educational documentary. Welcome back to CASE Documentaries. I bring you true crime, disturbing stories and other things that you may later regret knowing with regular uploads every week. Please do join the quickly growing, incredibly supportive CASE family by hitting subscribe now and turning on notifications. Remember, choosing to be kind can save a life in many ways. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me. Our love and respect goes out to those that knew and loved Jastine and all those affected by this case. Jastine Valdez was born in the Philippines in 1994 to parents Teresita and Danilo. She was extremely loved and her parents wanted more for her than they felt their home country had to offer. Mum and Dad both made the hard decision to move to Enniskerry in the Republic of Ireland, leaving young Jastine at home. They did this so that they could build a solid foundation for the future of their daughter, and this is something that they successfully achieved. In 2015, Jastine was now in her early 20s and made the big move to live with her parents. She was studying accountancy, a solid career choice indeed. Obviously a very driven and hard-working young woman, Jastine also worked as a care assistant and in a restaurant to help ends meet and support the family. She was on the road to success and her parents were standing right by her side. By Saturday the 19th of May 2018, Jastine was now 24 years old. She had blossomed into a beautiful young woman and was making the family's dreams a reality. She had a small stature, standing at just 5 feet tall, but she was packed with drive and enthusiasm. The family, now reunited, cherished their time together more than many of us could imagine. When Jastine was out and about, the family would be in almost constant contact. On this day alone, over 60 messages were shared between the three throughout the day. Jastine had quite a busy day. She had to visit the police station in order to work towards renewing her residency permit to stay in the country. From there, she went to the gym to get a workout in. At 4:20 p.m, the last reciprocated contact was made between the mother and daughter. Teresita asked Jastine to go and buy some bread on the way back to their house. After leaving the gym, still wearing her workout clothes, a white shirt, trainers, grey leggings and a dark jacket, Jastine carried out her mother's request and then jumped on the number 185 bus in Bray. This was at 5:40 p.m. The 185 pulled into Enniskerry village just after 6 p.m. and Jastine left the bus. She then started the short 15 to 20 minute walk home, but rather than walking through the front door, Jastine instead vanished. Mother Teresita noticed almost immediately that something wasn't right here. The contact between the two throughout the day had been almost constant. If Jastine had changed her plans, then she definitely would have let her mother know. But there was nothing. She should have been home. Teresita reported her daughter as missing and information began to come together. In fact, before Jastine's mother even knew that there was a problem, the police had already received their first call. There were witnesses to Jastine getting off the bus. In fact, disturbingly, at 6:24 p.m, the police received a call from a concerned member of the public. The call was from a female driver who was in the car with her son. She saw a woman of Asian descent, dressed in grey leggings, a dark jacket, white t-shirt and trainers, being forced by a man into the boot of a Nissan Qashqai. What she witnessed was horrifying, and the car drove off into the evening. Next, around 10 minutes later, another motorist saw the same Nissan. The woman was still in the car. now screaming. She could be seen in the boot compartment of the Qashqai, banging on the windows, desperately. This woman was Jastine Valdez. The second witness originally thought it was a child in the car and considered minding his own business. However, upon returning home to his wife and following a discussion, the man then reported what he had seen to the police. He made this call at around 7:20 p.m, almost an hour since Jastine was taken. Police attended the scene that Jastine was spotted by the woman being bundled into the boot of the car. At this location, they made a discovery that I found really quite emotional. Her phone was smashed on the floor, and the bread that she had bought for her mother was there, strewn on the floor. Things were going south fast, and the police believed that Jastine was in severe danger. The search for Jastine Valdez was launched. What followed was a massive search operation that included patrol cars, dogs, and a police helicopter. Even with the best efforts of police officers, the trail for Jastine had gone cold. Saturday night ran into Sunday morning, and suddenly came a breakthrough in the case. At 3 a.m, the owner of the Nissan was identified. It belonged to a married man, a man with 2 young daughters, the younger of which had only been born a few months before in September. He had a respectable job working as a banksman on building sites. This man was named Mark Hennessy. When police turned up to his house, he was nowhere to be found. Bearing in mind this was after 3 a.m, this was quite strange. Police spoke to his wife, Nicola, to try and work out if Mark really did have something to hide. She described how he went to work on the Saturday morning at around 7:30. He then came home after his shift at around 3 p.m, but then he left once more, saying he was going to the pub for a drink. This was at 5:25 p.m, an hour before Jastine was taken. Disturbingly, wife Nicola hadn't seen Mark since. She couldn't figure out exactly where he could be. At this time, Mark was the only suspect in Jastine's abduction. His friends and family joined the police in looking for Mark. We can only imagine how scared they must have been about what they may find. The pub that Nicola said Mark was going to had a visit from the police. They discovered that he had indeed been there, but only for around 10 minutes while the football was on. Luckily, the pub had CCTV installed and captured Mark leaving at 5:41 p.m. He exited to the car park where his Nissan was parked. He appeared to make a phone call that lasted just 2 minutes, and then he left in his car. Mark in his Nissan Qashqai was then captured once more on CCTV. This time he was driving behind the 185 bus, the bus that Jastine was riding home on. But then the trail pretty much went cold until 11 p.m. when Mark returned to the pub. This left over 5 hours of Mark's whereabouts and behaviours unaccounted for. It brought the police no closer to finding out exactly where Jastine had been taken to. This case was huge in the local area. Police held a press conference at 8 p.m. on a Sunday night, just over 24 hours since Jastine was last seen. They shared the importance of tracking down the Nissan Qashqai, sharing its registration, and they didn't have to wait long before new leads came in from the public. A woman that had watched the press conference on TV had come across the car by chance. She saw the vehicle driving down the road and made the brave decision to follow it. The car pulled over into Cherrywood Business Park, and then she made the call to the authorities. Police sped to the scene and discovered not only the car, but also Mark. It seemed that he too may have caught wind of the press conference, and he knew that his time as a free man was quickly running out. As police approached the car and saw Mark still sat inside, they noticed he was covered in his own vital fluids from a wound he had made with a sharp implement. Mark refused to exit the car and give himself up. A tense standoff ensued. At this time, police believed that Mark still had Jastine inside the car. They were scared he may harm her further. Firearms officers were now at the scene and 1 round was fired into the vehicle. Mark was hit in his shoulder. Now in a serious condition, he was pulled from the car. Paramedics tried to save him as police begged him to tell them where Jastine was, but they got no response. His injuries would lead to his demise. Mark was no more, taking his secrets to the grave. Hopes of finding Jastine alive were dwindling. She was not present in the car. However, police found a note scrawled by Mark left in the vehicle. It was heavily covered in blood, but specialists were able to remove it and read the writing underneath. They could make out the word, sorry, along with what appeared to be a location, Puck's Castle. This was as good a lead as they were going to get, and they sped to the scene. The area surrounding Puck's Castle was then subject to intense searches that ran throughout the night, sadly with no findings. As the sun rose on the 21st of May, 2 days since Jastine was last seen, in an area of dense woodland in South Dublin, a body was discovered, quickly confirmed to be that of Jastine Valdez. Upon inspection, it was confirmed that Jastine had passed as a result of being throttled. This was thought to have happened not long after she was taken by Mark. Also revealed were abrasions and marks on her intimate areas, as well as the presence of a very small amount of an illicit substance taken an hour or two before her passing. Jastine was not a user, so the presence of this substance was very unusual. However, it was discovered that Mark was a user, so this more than likely explains the presence of the substance in Jastine. Police could not confirm any solid prior connection between Jastine and Mark. There is a chance that Mark had seen Jastine as she worked at her restaurant job, or perhaps as she got off the bus. And maybe Mark became obsessed, learning her patterns and abducting her in a well-planned attack. But of course, there is every chance that this was an essentially random event based on his dark urges. So why exactly did an apparent family man with a stable job turn into a complete monster? Why did Jastine have to pay with her life for the wants of one man? Mark was in fact not doing as well as many people thought. His illicit substance use was spiraling out of control, and his life was falling apart. His marriage to his wife Nicola was not going well. The couple were on the verge of separation despite their new family. Mark seemed to have completely signed off from the marriage. He was active on dating apps, trying to pick up partners suited to his needs. His presence in the pub on the Saturday that Jastine vanished was of no surprise either. He would regularly go out and attempt to pick up women in bars too. The exact reason for why he did what he did to Jastine will never fully be understood. What do you think happened here? Was it planned or was it a chance encounter? What do you think could be done to avoid something like this happening again in the future? Let me know down in the comments. Please do hit like if you appreciate what I'm doing here. Thank you to everyone in the Dark Case crew. You too can become a channel member for just 99p. A huge thank you to my patrons. Your support makes a massive difference. You too can support my work and be thanked in every video for just $5 per month. So thank you to Rachel David, Kathy Green, David James, Addy Alexander, Karen Jones, El Palmieri, James Harrington, Shane Woodward, Faster River, Stacey Krogerus, Summer Chambers, Mona Corona, Cepheid Variable, Anthony Watson, Jason Coward, Guardian Paler, Jeremy Sebranek, Joy Burton, Dawn Croc, Michelle Mims, Natalie Lundquist, Anita Ford, and Darlene. Be careful out there, and I'll see you soon.